Keep updating your Twitter votes throughout this series. Send that hashtag KOO win or hashtag SKT win to @LOL Esports, and we can see how you are calling this as we get on to the Rift. Game 2 of this best of 5 here in Berlin at the World Championship Finals. SKT 2 games away, 2 wins away, I should say, from the Summoners Cup, hoisting it once again. It will be the only team to have those 2 wins at Worlds.
There were no huge surprises in Game 1, aside from the fact that SKT played around Cassidy incredibly well. KOO Tigers wasn't really able to do anything with the minor advantages they had gained in the early game. Because remember, first game, SKT played a very defensive early game strategy, did not get any deep wards, and were vulnerable to a little bit of a KOO Tigers counter invade later into the game, where they outnumbered the number of jungle camps that SKT could take and gained a very early experience advantage. KOO does need to jump on SKT early because they were able to do it in Game 1.
And Origin last week was supposed to be the guys who could maybe create an upset, take a game against SK Telecom. They did really well in Game 1. KOO Tigers had a good early game at least, but then we saw it fall apart. I wonder when you face a team like SK Telecom and you're mentally trying to be so ready and say, this is where I'm going to play the best game of my life. I'm going to take down SKT, I'm going to take down Faker, take the trophy, run away with it. He's not going to get his hands on it. And then you lose that first game. It is so hard to then rebound into Game 2 because like you just had everything invested into one game. It didn't work for you. Origin, I feel like, had the same problem. We're going to have to see if KOO Tigers can show up in Game 2.
That's the thing about SKT is you can take them down in every facet, but if you haven't chipped away at their mentality, they are still very much so in the game.
Yeah, and we've been talking a lot about like what will it take for SKT to lose a game? Because SKT is so fluid and reactive, and we got to talking, we're saying like, oh, SKT, they just do things by the book. But then the question is like, what book? What book are you doing that tells you how to play this perfect League of Legends? Because what they're able to do is make the right play across the board, which is so fascinating and so difficult to do in League of Legends because you are 5 individuals trying to play as one. And that's really what makes SK Telecom so far this year at Worlds, is their ability to play as an absolute team.
Yeah, and that's really the scary thing. A team with so many carry players, insane mechanics, top lane, 80 carry, mid lane as well. And when you then add in what I feel is the best shot calling we see from a team in League of Legends, and really the main thing for SK Telecom, how quick they can make these decisions, reading, okay, Miniwave is pushing one lane, so we need to defend there, move down, and then keep always rotating around.
Right, and Wolf successfully pushes them off of Uma, which is, again, kind of a smart play, and do they see a big opportunity? Because normally KOO should funnel to Raptors, now Marin's there.
Marin charging the Flame Spitter, he came in with his gauge over half. Oh, level 1 turret dive! Bengi definitely messed that up! Can they get snapped? Marin's gonna go down here too! SKT go way too hard in the early game!
This is what they call the caster curse. You talk about it.
Play by the book, Jan.
Play it by the book, capitalize on opponent missteps, never overstep your bounds. I was just gonna say SKT has been the perfect low-risk, medium-reward team, but by double flashing into the turret at 2.5 minutes, that was a high-risk, low to medium reward play. SKT completely out of character, and KOO Tigers get 2 kills in the early game.
They were in such a good position. Just push these guys out of the jungle, force them to recall. You're now way ahead in the lane swap. Go up, take your tower. Marin now.
It snowballs because they do not have the support from the others.
This is exactly what we didn't see last game. These turrets were being pushed by only members of the opposite team. Now SKT tries to defend that turret, and they cost them their life. 2 lives to go down. Now Bengi just came back from being dead. It's going to be a real long walk to get back into his jungle. Great turret aggro trading, and that's Gorilla coming in for the final kill. 1 last shot, he's still alive. It's a 3rd shot that will take him down. He gets caught up in his own minions.
Even so, things have gone from bad to worse, and that is the collateral damage or just the extended loss of what SKT did in the jungle of KOO Tigers. They completely fell apart for about 1.5 minutes. Let's see if they can recover.
If KOO Tigers didn't feel confident going into Game 2, they do now. 4 kills, 4 minutes in, and such a greedy play just from SKT, sending Marin down with no flash to sit in this bottom lane. Bengi didn't go anywhere on the map. Either he had to go top and dive Smep like we saw Hojin do right here, or he had to just try and farm it up, but that would mean his top laner could die. Going down to defend him this late would never really do anything. And KOO Tigers just a step ahead of SKT, punish him in this lane swap completely. Smep is level 3, 16 CS, he's gonna be more than fine now.
Yeah, and maybe if SKT could have had both Bengi and Marin under the turret at the same time, but even that's a little bit dangerous because they're both down flashes from the earlier play. really just a series of errors by SKT that were capitalized on by KOO by doing that turret dive. Now the question will be, where does KOO go from here? Because they haven't been able to push their advantages extremely well, except in the group stages actually, when they're able to do it against CLG repetitively.
Well, already an uncharacteristic game for KOO here. Who usually we say Hojin sits back, waits for the counter. They were so proactive in those engages. I don't think they're going to be stopping anytime soon, but definitely need to focus that Hojin giving the kills to his lanes now. He's 2-0-2, doesn't need too much more as an early game jungler. We'll see if he can help the other members get going on the team. Gorilla heading back down towards the bottom lane. They're looking to make some plays, trade that damage. They know these little upper hands in the lane are really going to go far throughout the game. Wolf, level 2, his flash is still down. He's going to be forced to just do some triumphant roars if he's even leveled it here.
KOO Tigers keep playing around the lanes where SKT has no flashes from that level 1.
Right.
Mara still missing his flash, Wolf of course missing his flash, so they knew, okay, they're overextending on the bottom side, make a play, because right now Smeb, he's just sitting on his own up top lane. He's getting solo experience, he's more than fine again.
And this would actually be the book that you play by if you're KOO Tigers. You see a small hole in the opponent armor, you hit it again and again and again until those flashes are up again. They're completely happy with Smeb farming, and they know if they continue to hit SKT's weak spot, SKT will continue to send defenses down there, which means they won't be stopping Smeb on the other side either. So things going very well for KOO Tigers.
Assistance ping called in by Hojin here. It looks like they want to make a move in towards the jungle. Wolf Spirit did moves, but Faker I don't think caught that. He'll still be safe to get out of this. But this is the first action we've seen towards mid lane. Faker and KOO are probably like, what is going on around us right now?
Well, Faker is happy in the lane so far. He's winning quite easily. I didn't see if KOO had to leave the mid lane, maybe to try and rush down and be part of this tower dive, even though he never got any assist, so he's not really been able to add any value there. But it does obviously mess a little bit with you as a player. You suddenly have to leave at level 1 to join a weird fight behind you. It can set you behind. I think that's what happened in this mid lane. It is still fairly even.
Even though I actually think it was Faker that pushed up a little bit into the turret as well, so maybe a few CS lost early by KOO. I will say though, KOO, even when they're in large deficits, has always been able to have massive impact in team fights on Victor. I think it's really exciting to see how he can deal against Faker's Lulu, who's very high pressure mid laner trying to roam. And Victor's, I think, a pretty good pick against that because he can counter shove the lane very easily after Lulu does that and kind of match the roams.
And as you mentioned earlier yourself, when you're against the Lulu, you don't want too much single target damage because she's gonna shield that guy, block him up with ulti. You want massive AoE. Victor will offer that. Smeb, nice little play here, can riposte the damage coming in from Bang.
And in that melee, KOO knows exactly what he's doing. 8-2 over the summer split with an 8.5 KDA on Victor.
Victor was his pick.
Yes.
He brought it into the meta and it started a spring split. And then everyone was like, oh, Victor, he's extremely strong. Let's all start playing him, and we still play him half a year later.
We'll see what he can continue to do. Like we said, not much action to the mid lane. Everybody else getting themselves going. Hojin still 2-0-2 as things have kind of slowed down. A little breather for both teams as they get full 3 levels under the turret. They have all the skills to get out or get in if necessary. Hojin. KOO actually got some nice deep wards that have already been cleared out so far. So we'll see if they can get themselves back into that jungle and ward it up.
I would have liked to see SKT say, you know what, guys, we've been losing now this one-on-one between obviously the top laners or the AD carry versus the top laner. And our own top laner, the Rumble, is sitting and having to share experience with our support. So he's really far behind. It's going to be a tough dive for Benki.
Yeah, sub-level 6, Jarvan. Riposte will be up very shortly for Smeb, but they're going anyways.
Goes back towards the turret, trying to keep himself in between the wall. That's the flash out. Can't get the grand challenge on to Bang. Smeb will not go down from that, I don't think. He should stay alive. He has just a sliver of health. This has to be going back.
Oh!
This is the strike, but he does get the auto as Smeb flashes in range, unfortunately. Those are some fast fingers you got to play to get out of that situation. I think SKT had it either way. Flash for flash, though, as the kill goes down.
SKT clearly said, okay, Bang, keep pushing the lane, you might be able to get a tower, then we will swap the lanes back. Rumble should recall from this bottom side once Tristana appears in the lane, get him into that one-on-one against Vero so he gets some experience, but I feel it's almost too late for Morin. He's falling almost too far behind in experience. It's very important they got that one kill at least. That was all they were keeping Bang for. To keep pushing in the lane, try and get a tower. He didn't get it though, because they took the kill instead.
Smeb's been doing a very nice job on Bang, getting that damage down, pushing him off the waves, not allowing it to always be at the turret. Definitely saved his life for a little bit longer than necessary there. Did see him go down, blow his flash, but he is coming back with a Tiamat, so that's only going to get easier for him to farm that lane out and be somewhere else for his team when necessary.
Absolutely, and Smeb with the 2 deaths as well. It's actually not too out of character for what he has been doing so far at Worlds. He actually has given up more First Bloods than any other player at Worlds. So he does die early in lane somewhat frequently with the aggressiveness in which he plays. That time, he had been poked down pretty low by Tristana. He thought he could outplay the dive. He has a lot of confidence in his ability to outplay because more often than not, especially in teamfights, he does. But this time it cost him.
Good play though from SKT in the end. Kind of saving Marin here. He was falling really far behind in experience early on. A full level is a lot when it comes to these 1v1s, especially when one of them is a Fiora who needs to get punished in the early game, otherwise she will outscale you. Going in on Marin now, he has flash ready.
Marin throws down the equalizer. That does not look like a good situation for him, though. Very nice flash over the wall. He's got full vision here, but he doesn't have vision behind Baron. Instantly lasered down by KOO, and his Victor just gets a kill. He just walked up lane and got it. Faker's still farming there, and he's not going to lose any minions as he comes back.
Wow, and a small interaction there. Wolf actually gives Gorilla a gift because the Shen ult was coming in, but Wolf interrupted him, so now they get to keep the 2v2 as well. They get the global presence from the Shen shield during their dive, and they don't lose the map pressure for it either.
Same thing as we saw in the last game against the Lulu. You push her into this tower, she stays there, she tries to farm it up, push it back, and then you roam to the other lanes. Bengi gonna find Smeb now. There's ulti on this Jarvan, so you can lock him down at least.
A lot of love from Bengi on this Smeb lane. Cataclysm down. Flame Spitter should be able to take Smeb out quite quickly.
Here's Hojian.
Oh, for the kill though. He makes it. Grand Challenge is down, so this is all about Smeb's abilities. Flame Spitter finishes him off, but Marin is overheated as he makes his way out now with the scrap shield. He should be okay. This is KOO's second roam. That means his mid is open, but it pays off with kill number 2.
KOO has been out roaming Faker this game, and Smeb comes up huge with that play. But everything happens up top, means time to fight down bottom.
Once SKT sees an opening, they take it. That's Unbreakable Will on. Slicing Maelstrom's going to put a bit of crowd control. They need to stop Bang from dishing out the DPS, but it looks like they won that trade nicely. They'll be able to sit back in lane as Wolf tries to heal it up.
SKT with their bottom lane here picked against the cannon, saying we have a headbutt, we have buster shot, we have so many ways of shooting you away from us when you pop that ulti. So it's gonna be hard for Prey to kill this lane, but he's not here to kill the lane. He's here just to support the rest of the team in the fight, because right now you have 2 kills on your top laner. He's been getting solo experience, and you just ganked the lane and got more kills for him.
Yeah, and I think this is another time to call attention to the itemization timings. Last game, Bengi was at 16 minutes before he completed Sightstorm. He had a Cinder Hulk, which gave him very good combat effectiveness. This time, Bengi has an early Sightstone, less combat effectiveness when he goes up to try and kill Smeb, weakens him enough for Smeb to be able to kill him, and is one of the major reasons KOO ended up winning that trade. Because SKT's been on the back foot, they're warding more, but it means Bengi can't actually take fights.
Oh, he knocks him up inside the gravity field. Flag and drag over the wall. Not much they can follow there. The flash is already down from KOO. Does he want it? That gives him the speed! And he gets the last auto in for the 3rd kill of the game.
Everything is going wrong for SKT right now. This is a play we normally don't see. Bengi walks into the enemy jungle to place a ward when his own mid lane is back in base. Faker wasn't even nearby, so he was all alone. Gets caught out. Faker now wants to kill KOO.
Oh, what a turn.
Faker pressuring KOO here. Flashes in, gets the kill. Looks like there was a little of bot lane as well, but they turned off of that. Faker getting it right back for himself.
I feel like Faker just completely turned this game because it looked like KOO was making play after play and never breaking the momentum. The 3-man gank that they were prepping bottom lane, I think absolutely could have worked, but the instant Faker kills KOO there, the entire team pulls off the gank. Alistar ultimate was still down, so they could have been able to focus him. At that point, Faker turns the kill around, gets the shutdown on KOO, knows that KOO will use a lot of his summer spells and power to get the kill on Bengi, and it's the right time to go aggressive.
It's top lane, man. Smeb is just getting further and further ahead.
He's the one with the lead now.
Remember, SKT decided to put Marin down to the bottom lane. They decided to keep him there with the Alistar for such a long time, sharing experience. Replay from before. This is where it goes, you know, away from the by-the-book plays, because these are the kind of outplays a team like SKT can make.
This is the choose-your-own-adventure.
Right. When everything looks terrible, they're making some mistakes, they get one of these solo plays. Top lane might see a dive, though.
I think they saw a little bit too much behind Marin to really keep wanting that. Hojian in a bad spot, and it looks like the team is going to leave him out to dry. That is not going to be good. KOO had that lead. It is being squeezed smaller and smaller by SKT's moves.
Bang and Wolf were there when KOO did not expect them to be there. So that was just catching them off guard and in a bad timing right here. KOO able to get the blue, which is actually pretty clutch, and this could end up being a trade of turrets.
Should do. This tower is so low on the top side. We know Prey can't join. Same for Faker, though. He's also on the bottom lane.
KOO has moved to defend, so they're actually trying to save this turret as best as possible, and they pushed SKT off of it.
Teleport's going to be up for Marin, but his ultimate is following very slowly on that one. Ojin onto Bang. Bang jumps nicely over the wall, makes it to safety. Wolf's going to headbutt himself a little bit further towards the turret. Looks like they could be safe here. That teleport's there for Marin, but he's going to stay. The team calls safe. No problems from KOO here, as KOO again attempt to get themselves even farther ahead.
Yeah, well, they definitely repelled the pressure that was on their turret. Then they let it die to minions because they were too aggressive there. So really unfortunate move there for KOO. But I really love the way Bang counterplayed that gank. He doesn't want to try and rocket jump over the Rek'Sai because the Rek'Sai will unburrow and interrupt the jump. So he was very patient with the way he used that to jump around. Marin takes a shortcut, but it's not a good one.
Oh, Hojin over the wall. It's not even going to be necessary. He does get the assist, though, in the end. And that is going to be KOO 4-1-0 now.
Another really sloppy mistake here from SKT. KOO Tigers were just fighting on the top side of the map to walk into your jungle, and you didn't just walk straight through the mid lane. And not really sure how Marin got caught out of position in the first place by moving up there. Ends up dying. KOO's 4 kills now on this Victor. It's going to be so keen to late game fights.
And this is the worst I've seen Marin play in Worlds. Early game, he flashes under the turret to try and get like a refund kill when it's definitely going to be his death. And then again here in the mid lane with the 5th death.
Slicing Maelstrom. They are going to call in the TP. Smeb's in. Is that a fight that they can take here? Unbreakable Will is down, so it's definitely an option to go for Wolf. Marin's going to join the fight, and he lays down the red carpet for Smeb to enter. And it looks like Smeb will go down as he hits the front door. Somehow Wolf stays alive.
In the end, it's KOO Tigers investing a teleport to try and create a play where, honestly, they just want to have this 1 versus 1 in top lane. They don't need to try and join him for these fights. Just let Smeb do his job on his own. Because then SKT has to send up multiple guys to help Marin kill Smeb, and that's where you get your openings.
Yeah, I agree, but when you're in a position to take down SK Telecom, what type of decisions will you make? Here, KOO does see a window because SKT burns Luluwalt and an exhaust on a Prey early on, which means Smeb thinks he's free to go in, but the matching teleport way in the back has Smeb tunnel. He's out of mana by the time he goes in, so he can't dash to proc the last vital. I like the idea of putting the vitals on the Alistar because you're doing % health true damage every time you proc the vital. Therefore, you can take down Alistar in an Unbreakable Will, but he was not respecting the teleport and absolutely should have disengaged.
Yeah, and that was the weird thing, not respecting the TP, and he was recalling top lane. He was like, okay, back to base, got a lot of gold probably. And then he's like, oh, I have to react now, try and help my AD carry down on the bottom side. Those kind of plays can cost KOO Tigers a lot, because now obviously setting up that split push is going to be more difficult with no flash for Fiora and no teleport for her. Might slow down the game a little bit for SKT, give them more chance to farm again. You still don't have really anything completed for your AD carry. Faker has been doing well in the mid lane, but he's obviously not going to be the main damage dealer on your team.
Looks like SKT still wants to make plays. Early distortion mobility for Wolf so he can get the flash pulverizes in to start things off. He does have that wild growth we just saw save his life if Unbreakable Will is down. A lot of options to go in. It's like Wolf and Bengi are going to be Bash Brothers here starting off these fights once they get the chance.
Yeah, typically though, because of the gold deficit, we have to see a much craftier SKT. They can't just make the brute force outnumber plays that they could last game when they had big advantages. Here they have to be very creative, make KOO overcommit, and play from behind, which is what SKT has been able to do very well in the past, but they are in a much different position than in Game 1.
And KOO really wants to have an impact right now, or keep his impact going, because he's obviously had a great start to the game. Morel Normicon, it means you can go for your magic penetration boots, so your mid-game damage is very, very high on the Victor. Obviously delays your late-game items a little bit, but he wants to fight at the moment. He wants to be able to one-shot someone from SKT.
I think that something that is very strange about this game is that we're 19 minutes in and the first dragon has not been taken. KOO Tigers has had what should be pretty good map control, but they have consistently been prepping turret dives and going for kills instead of securing the objective per se. Even with the global pressure of the Rek'Sai and the Shen, you'd think they would have gone for that already. But if we do see a big fight here, it would be around the Dragon Pit, because that's what SKT is trying to draw in here with the mid-game Lulu Trist. This is super dangerous to Fischio.
This is so risky for SKT. There's 2 items already on Prey. He's joining in as well. If there's a fight, KOO Tiger should be able to win it.
Well, Gorilla was coming down like he wanted that fight.
Just gonna take mid tower instead.
Yeah, push mid.
Yeah, this is the counterplay right now. SKT may sacrifice mid lane, but if they can trade bottom turret for mid turret and get the dragon, it's a giant win for them right now. They're keeping Bang bottom, and as long as they can defend Team Tier 2, this is a huge win for SKT.
Smeb wanted to stay top lane and push it out, but again, he had no teleport. It was used in that fight earlier where he ended up dying, so he couldn't join in time. They're pushing the tower.
Because they see the Trist bottom, they wanted to push the inner middle turret right there, but you can really see that with the Lulu and the Rumble there, the turret push just isn't happening. Now KOO is trying to get deeper vision within the SKT jungle, but as you can see, SKT's really contesting almost everything.
This is where they're hoping KOO makes a mistake. A lot of damage onto Smeb, but very nice parry on the flag and drag. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get the damage they want. Gorilla goes in the middle of the fight with a nice flash and talk. Gorilla goes down. Here comes Kuro. Throws down the Chaos Storm. It's all over Wolf, though. Oh, nice flash over the wall from Faker. And he glitter lances over the Krugs and gets away so he does not take too much damage. Somehow every member of SKT is alive, but KOO is still on the chase. Marin dodging out the damage of the laser means there's not much follow-up to be had.
And this whole time, Bang is pushing the bottom tier turret. This is SKT winning all across the map.
SKT saw KOO Tiger split up and said, let's put down the Rumble ulti, let's try and lock down Fiora in the Rumble ulti. No flash for Smeb to get out of it. That's how SKT starts the fight. And Prey, he left the bottom side to run all the way to top lane, try and join, didn't manage to, ends up losing another tower.
This is the craftiness that we were talking about with SKT, and one of the most underrated parts of Rumble Ultimate is the range in which you can use it. Look where Marin is right here when he decides to cut them off with Equalizer. He landed the second half and he completely cuts off the funnel. So when Bengi comes over the top, he does lock them within the Equalizer, not to mention the split up right there, and it's miraculous of SKT to have everyone survive throughout that fight.
Fantastic plays all around. They're able to take down Wolf here. This will help them get towards the turrets a little bit more, but you still have Faker, you still have Marin to clear the waves. What play from both teams so far? 10-9, still a slight gold lead by 1,000 in favor of KOO, and it's not something, like we said, SKT has worked with very much, being down. They're usually the team up by at least 2,000 to 3,000 at this point.
Yeah, and that's why, again, it's so impressive how they can use every single advantage they find. Oh, okay, you just invested all your summoners as a top laner. We know we can engage on you nowadays an opening. We know there's no split pushing pressure because TP is down. So, like, it bought a lot of time for SKT to make some plays as a team, group together as 5, out-rotate the KOO Tigers, and then pick the right team fights as well. Really well played, and KOO Tigers are learning, okay, we cannot split up like this. We have to stay together because the engage from the Jarvan, the hard engage option he brings, is too high for us to split up. Because we have so many squishy members. I mean, the only real tank on this team is gonna be Hojin sitting in the front. Shen is not gonna be tanky enough as a support to really stay in the front line.
I think it's gonna be a huge balance though, because Smeb needs to be able to split push, and they need to be able to disengage some of these team fights. That's the whole reason he's picking the Fiora, but SKT brings some friends.
Grand challenge in, cannot get the last hit. Gorilla way too deep here. Use Stand United to get on Smeb, but Smeb turned from the fight immediately. He's trying to get the hits on the Bang. That's going to be the explosive shot, taking him down. Bang knew he could get the kill easily. SKT working well within their champion's capabilities here.
You said it yourself here before, Jad. SKT, or KOO Tigers, sorry, have to be able to split push. They had used another teleport from Smeb to get 1 kill on Wolf in the mid lane. So once again, that global is gone. They're not using this Fiora at all. Keep burning the teleports for absolutely nothing. This one obviously was just Bang. Returning to the bot side, really smart decision from him. Ends up getting a 2-for-0 trade.
And the trouble here for KOO is it's also so hard for Smeb to exist well in team fights. Lulu polymorph, also slow and somewhat reliable damage from SKT, does not get parried well. One of the biggest things about Smeb in their semifinal against Fnatic is he was parrying or riposting giant CCs, Skarner ultimate, Riven stuns, huge bursts of damage, but that isn't the way SKT's composition is built. It's sustained damage over time and good crowd control. So really, Smeb needs to be smarter about these split pushes because SKT is consistently outwitting him. He can win the 1v1 against Rumble, but he's overcommitted.
We've also seen it's very hard for Smeb to hit all of the vitals with the amount of pop-ups. The flag and drag Bengi used twice in the last fight to stay away from those vitals and give Smeb his HP back on Grand Challenge. A lot of things work against KOO Tigers in these fights.
One of the reasons Lulu has been seen as one of these really, really power picks in this meta is because she works so well against all these top lane carries. Like, oh, you want to single down one guy with your Fiora ulti. He has everything invested from Lulu to save that guy. Whimsy comes in. Against like Darius, you can just kite him for days. She works extremely well against all the top lane carries. So SKT were happy enough taking that in that rotation, where KOO Tigers said that apparently they were fine giving more of a protect AD carry comp to SKT. And I still think it was okay for KOO. They just haven't been able to, once again, to use their lead properly. They keep making these small mistakes on the map, how they want to use the globals, when do they want to assert pressure on one side, and that's what SKT is punishing every single time.
SKT working very well proactively throughout the tournament, always waiting for a team to make mistakes. Marin's going to have to respect this push towards the top side, but they're calling out Bang as well. This actually may be a fight. Smeb pushed up very far here, but he does have some friends in the river that could head up.
Very creative what they're doing right here. They're keeping Lulu as the wave pusher. They're actually not playing 3 lanes right here like they usually do because they are consistently trying to lay traps for Smeb, hoping he goes for kills on Marin, and then turning. How often do you see an 80 carry waiting for a counter gank? Second time for SKT.
Smeb lunge to get away. Looks like it will be enough of the distance to get out of any danger. That Dragon is alive though. We've only seen one on the map now. 26 minutes in, could be Dragon number 2 as both teams kind of hold hands as they make their way down the river to get that vision.
If SKT starts the Dragon instantly, if they know the exact time of teleport, they will get a 5 versus 4, but then they will lose top tower. So I think it's better to send Marin back to this tower, push out the wave, and then look for KOO Tigers to make a move before you decide to do anything. And that's exactly what they're doing now. Just don't early TP down and like just 5-man the Dragon. Wait to see the play happening, and this is what's going to happen for KOO Tigers.
Really good Zhonya's.
Drill that'll pierce the heavens. Can Marin do it? A 4v1 situation. It looks like he will go down as all 5 members of KOO are towards the top side. That's going to mean Dragon, and they don't really have a wave to get a push on.
That was a very greedy play by Marin to be under the turret, but at the same time, SKT is going to try and make that work. With committing the 4-man dive, what will SKT get out of that? They actually defended the turret, traded his life for the Dragon, and a mid-inner.
This is one of the reasons SKT wants to play Rumble against teams who can split push against it, because on the turret, he can do so much damage before he goes down. He always builds Hourglass early as well, which delays him going down. So even with it was greedy for Marin to get under that tower, it bought enough time for SKT to take 2 objectives, a tower, and of course the Dragon here. So really, really well played from SKT. But also KOO Tigers investing everything to try and get 1 kill.
You always know if it takes too long to do something, it's not worth. That's what the Zhonya's is helping to promote for SKT here as they're getting pushed back ever so slowly. But in their pushes, or in, I should say, KOO's pushes, SKT is able to get more around the map than what KOO is getting out of the champions of SKT. 11-11 in kills. The gold is pretty much tied up here. Just a small lead and what would be probably minions in the lane over to SKT. They have 2 dragons in their favor, and they haven't let KOO get very many throughout game 1 or game 2. A lot of control on the map for SKT.
Yeah, and SKT with the Rumble MB Lulu kind of have a double AP composition working, but there's still no Aegis on the side of the KOO Tigers. And they're not even close to one either. So this is a little bit troubling for KOO since their split pushing has been getting counter-ganked by AD carries and their team fighting isn't necessarily itemized for, whereas the power spikes are hitting for SKT with the death cap on the Lulu and the last Whisper onto Bang.
You do have your Shen ulti very soon. You have teleport for Smeb, so he needs to sit on the bottom side, and the 4 members from KOO Tigers has to take over the Baron. They need to control it, because then you get 2 openings. Either one, you get the one-on-one bot lane with the Shen ulti and you 2v1 kill, obviously onto Marin when he's sitting on the tower, or if they try and make a play, you just go on towards and force the Baron, like this.
A lot of miscommunication in that engage. Bang uses both summoners to get himself out with Wild Growth. Gorilla's the focus now on the other side. Prey, he branches off from the team, and here comes Marin on the TP. Zhonya's is down, but he's going to get gravity fielded. No, he wasted enough time inside that he didn't, but KOO is able to assess the fight very well, get themselves back in after choosing the right target. Bangy, flag, and drag away. Doesn't look like KOO has any more priority targets. They lose 2, however, in that fight from splitting up so much in the beginning.
Marin teleported in a good 2 or 3 seconds before Smeb made his presence known in that team fight, and that's the reason that SKT ends up getting a 2-for-1. Because a fight in which Bang gets caught at the beginning should almost never lead to an SKT 2-for-1.
Exactly.
But they do lose the turret afterwards because some nice damage was returned by KOO Tigers. Really interesting chain of events.
Wolf goes in, Bang shooting somebody else, they still get out alive. However, they can turn situations around so fast to be in their favor and make it work. Still just repairing the lanes now because that wasn't the best of situations they came out of. Coming up on 30 minutes here. These games are definitely going longer than SKT's average, so they have to put a little more effort in to this mid-game area where, as we say, KOO should be shining.
Sadly for KOO Tigers, Smeb had to use ulti, teleport again. So now he's no longer on the bottom side. You can no longer make that Fiora Shen play very easily because you will lose all your pressure on Baron as he can then start it. So the whole setup for KOO Tigers with having that 1v1 just keeps getting delayed again and again and again. And Smeb really has been struggling to do a whole lot with that early lead he got because he's constantly being put into team fights.
So much of split pushing is about forcing the enemy team into decisions, and half the reason it works is because it's so difficult to coordinate everyone to do exactly the right thing and find the openings. But SKT has been the best team at Worlds this year, as well as having some of the best players, and I think that teamwork is one of the things that's stopping this split push from being so effective, aside from Smeb being a little bit slow on the uptake in some of his plays.
And we can't really blame KOO Tigers for looking at that last fight and saying, oh, we can catch the AD carry, we should go for it. But normally that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to just have control of the Baron River and wait for Smeb to make a play 1v1 against Marin. They were going to wait for him because he was supposed to be the strong member here, the guy who can win his lane consistently, where every time there's a team fight, it's more 50-50 between the teams here. So their safe play was going to be Smeb making a move with Shen ulti. That didn't happen because obviously they saw Bang a little bit out of position, they went for it, but that was basically what SKT wanted. Because now we have this situation again where 2 top laners are holding each other. It's very difficult for KOO to make that play because they have no TP. So how do they capitalize?
It's going to be very difficult, especially with Faker having home guard and Whimsy to get himself back out to the lanes, instantly glitter lancing, pushing any of KOO's work back while he was in base and already down the mid lane. It's not going to be Smeb diving Marin under his turret, so Smeb starts to back off, and Faker was making a roam down. But the movement of Smeb says, I'm in a ward, let's not go for that. Still focused to the mid lane. 1 minute on to Dragon, both teams trying to just pull ultimates, pull flashes or summoner spells out of each other here before it happens.
We're absolutely seeing a game of back and forth right here. Anytime someone leaves to go and push a side lane, you're going to see a small window of pressure for the opponent. And anytime SKT shows people in the mid lane, Smeb will try and go aggressive. They end up getting the equalizer out there for very low cost.
97-second cooldown on the equalizer from Marin. That's one of the reasons Rumble is sitting and holding a lane sword can be a bit annoying for him if you have to use ulti due to the long cooldown. This does give an opening for KOO Tigers. You can see how they're instantly moving in now. Sit around Baron and say, we want to fight now because you have no ulti on your Rumble.
With the distortion enchant for Marin, he has a faster teleport cooldown for Smeb. So even though they used it on the same fight, Marin's teleport's actually up in a couple of seconds right here. And that makes it much less safe for KOO to actually be faking this Baron.
Something we saw him focus in game 1. Marin definitely a huge playmaker on this Rumble. We saw him come from a screen off. Engage in one of the bottom fights. KOO's going to start. There's no vision here for SKT.
If SKT goes in, it can actually be a 5v4.
Yeah, this is too risky.
I don't think KOO knows the teleport's up. Now they do.
Marin is going to be coming in. They will not be able to turn and fight this with the damage of Baron in their favor. They just back off completely.
Here's the big window, though, because this time they forced the teleport without forcing the teleport on the other side. So that's a big win for KOO, actually. Not overcommitting to the Baron and getting the split push turret. Huge move.
The key thing for KOO Tigers was the fact that Faker recalled. He was back in base. One other member I didn't get to see who was also running from the fountain. So SKT, even though they had 5 members, they couldn't hard engage.
They're going back again. They're going back. They have the pink ward, but they do not clear the one in the back of the pit. They are trying to run SKT around the map, and soon Smeb will have his teleport, but he's drawn Marin up right here. So it's the Rek'Sai, Shen, and the teleport advantage all working in conjunction with the Dragon and Baron being up at once. This is filled with action right
Definitely by the book teleport play, if you will, gentlemen. This would be perfect for KOO to get a giant fight if SKT bunches up in this one. Marin, or Smeb rather, keeping an eye on the team. Marin already had to go back. but the teleport discrepancy actually will not be worked just yet by KOO. We have Hojin going back, but he can ult back in.
And if you're SKT, you have to break this cycle somehow by making an aggressive play or killing one leg of the split push. But at the moment, KOO isn't letting them recover. If anything, this leads to a cataclysmic fight at the Baron pit.
There's no wards behind SKT. There's no real way for Smeb to get a flank. He's just sitting in the lane. He's waiting for SKT to overcommit to a fight, knowing that Rumble isn't there. But you're still at that point where Fiora can duel everyone, so she can safely sit and stay even, at least with Marin, just clear the wave every single time, wait for something. I would want to see a ward from KOO Tigers behind this Baron, so there's a way for Smeb to TP in and get a flank, and he can instantly try and go for bang.
SKT as well, kind of baiting the Baron out. They push down towards Dragon to make sure that KOO goes into it. SKT now approaching. Baron's going to be down to about 4,700 HP. That's the in from Wolf. Stops up 3 members. Slicing Maelstrom goes down, but it's not really hitting anybody or stunning the targets it needs. Faker is going to be able to take down Prey. The Baron still stands at 2,300 HP. Smeb is forced to flash out of this one. This is the fight they were waiting for, but SKT danced it out perfectly. The laser cross, it's going to be going to Bengi. SKT gets Baron for a second game in a row, and now they're really going to be able to work the lane.
But what's the point in just teleporting your top laner straight into the Baron pit?
Oh,
that was one kill.
Takes him down.
It's going to be the fight. This is an easy kill for Faker here. Little bit of glitter. Glitter gets everywhere, and it takes down KOO. 45 seconds on the clock. They're getting longer. Smeb may be able to pick up Dragon, but it's a consolation prize at this point.
Also, when Smeb teleports inside that pit, I think they were trying to do it a little bit undetected, but Marin was able to get an equalizer in that pit, which made it dangerous. Bengi's smite is up, so thanks for the help, Smeb.
Thank you very much, says SKT.
KOO Tigers.
It doesn't look like they want to stop either. They see Smeb is low on mana. He's not going to have any potential to fight. Gorilla not doing anything, but you can see how long it's been since they've been in each other's jungles. New wards finally being placed. Yeah. Nobody had deep vision before that whole fight.
This obviously completely shuts down the split push here, but KOO Tigers simply got too greedy. They didn't want to wait any longer. They're like, let's just try and burst down the Baron, TP in here with all 5 guys, and just destroy the Baron as fast as possible before Marin shows up. But now you're just caught in here, so suddenly getting to the AD carry is almost impossible, and he's the guy you want to aim for if you look at what SKT has brought here on the board. So look at Bang, he's just sitting, shooting away all he wants, and they're caught. 5 guys taking damage from Baron at the same time.
Also, the way SKT engaged that fight, with Wolf going in with the Unbreakable Will, the Baron was only hitting KOO, even though the team fight was taking place in the Baron pit. The dive that Smeb tried to do outwardly maybe would have been best served to just kill frontline to backline. He tried to assassinate through the team of SKT, which is almost never going to work.
Yeah.
Impatience is the word I would use from KOO right there.
It was supposed to be start Baron, 4 members from SKT move in, TP in behind him, like Flash Torn from the Shin onto Bang, and try and destroy him as fast as possible, or maybe the Lulu, and then suddenly you have a good fight going for yourself instead of being caught in that pit. Just a little bit too greedy from KOO Tigers. It cost them in game 1, it's costing him again here in game 2.
Smeb not really respecting the members around him. He's just going for a little fight. Damage onto both Bengi and Wolf. Looks like they may want to commit here. They have good vision, but it's being cleared out. Double wards go down. The ward war definitely won by SKT here inside of KOO's jungle. And they're so split up, they can't really engage if they want to. A lot being done in defense. Smeb actually puts himself in a spot where he dies. That's a double kill for Bengi. They're not stopping. Bang jumps over the wall for another kill, and it looks like it's going to be an ace in the base. 22-13. When SKT takes over, they start to steamroll.
And just like that, they still have Baron buff, and Marin's going to grab the minions. He actually still has Equalizer. He uses that to clear the minions. SKT, just like that, it's over.
The game is open for anybody to take. Moments later, SKT wins a few fights, and it is all theirs for the taking. The first Nexus turret goes down here in game 2. That's the second one. SK Telecom T1 are 1 win away from being your 2-time world champions.
Another game for SKT, where they punish you, they take the Baron, and they walk straight down and finish the game. 9 games so far at Worlds. SKT finished with the Baron buff on them. And KOO Tigers just had the whole setup for such a long time.
And it gets so scary for KOO Tigers now. This was the game where Marin and Bengi made the big mistake early in the game, and then made another mistake by not changing their play style.
This breaks you.
If there was a game to win or get back into the series, it was this one. And KOO needs to prevent being broken by SKT.
We see such a big difference just in shot calling though between the teams. The way KOO Tigers are set up in the early game are like, oh, we're winning 1v1 top lane. Fiora is having a great start, a level above the Rumble. Keep playing around it. We have the Shen. We picked it early on because we want to split push. And then they keep joining in for fights with this teleport from Fiora, so she loses all her pressure in the mid game. Late game, they have that one opportunity where Rumble had no ulti. They set it up really well. And what do? They greed for the Baron. They rush in, trying to 5-man, just take it down as fast as possible. Ends up going completely wrong, and they lose the game. They had so many openings. So many.
Yes, exactly.
I mentioned it in the beginning, you can beat SKT in every facet, but you have to be able to get on their mentality. You have to be able to break them down. And never once in that game did it look like they didn't want to engage. They didn't want to take another fight. They were always going for it.
And so much of this just kind of speaks to the magic of SKT, because we as observers and people watching, we get to see the whole map, and we get to hindsight 2020 all of these decisions. And this is why it's so hard to be SKT. It's not like other